The first way to understand HTML is as markup. It's markup, just like we talked about earlier in the class. It's markup. It's a way of pointing to different things on, let's call it a page, because that's the vocabulary they use in HTML, and saying what it looks like. This looks a lot like a heading, and so I'm going to call it a heading. This looks italicized, or I want it to look italicized, so I'm somehow going to make it italic. This I want to be bold in here, so I'm going to make it bold. These I want to be bullets. This stuff I want to have in a table. And so I look at the layout of a page, I look at the styling of a page, and I decide how to mark up that page to get to what I want to get to. Okay, and that's really the essence of HTML. That's the idea. That's how most people go about HTML. I have this idea in my mind for how I'd like this page, A, to lay out on the large scale, and B, to look on the small scale. So for example, this is the small scale here. This is just one word. But the entire page layout here, this kind of linear idea with a line going here and then a table over here, that's a page level idea. So the thing to get your head around, and I think the thing that messes most people up most in HTML, is seeing that the way a page looks operates on many different levels. I can have the entire page. In fact, if this was a web page, would this be the entire page? No, I'm probably missing all the surrounding stuff, right? I'm probably missing a banner, I'm missing some navigation, I may be missing a footer. Those are all the things that aren't in here, that are at a higher level actually than this. Then there's the level of this little section here and how I'd like this section to lay out. Then there's the level of this paragraph and how I'd like the paragraph to lay out. Then there's the level inside the paragraph. How would I like the words inside the paragraph to look? So there's all these different levels all nested within each other. The layout of the page is nested above the layout of a section of the page. The layout of the section of the page is nested above the layout of what we're going to see in a second are called the block elements. All of these things that come out as a big block on the screen. And the block elements are nested above the level of the inline elements, like this one, which is in line with one of the blocks on the page. Okay, I did a subtle vocabulary shift there. That's the vocabulary shift that I want you guys to be able to make by the end of the lesson. I'm just demonstrating that vocabulary now. The idea here is HTML is for layout, HTML is for look and feel, HTML is markup that allows you to put the look and feel, the layout, the styling, the way the page is going to appear to people into the text of the page. Okay, so let's pull back the covers and look at what that page looks like. Okay, so you're almost definitely used to looking at pages the other way. I hope that you've at least seen pages this way. Actually, give me the hands on this is, I'm totally familiar with HTML. You know, I could do it in my sleep, and this is, you know, I've never seen really HTML before. By the way, there is no requirement in this class that you've done all that, but it's certainly nice if you have. So give me the hands. Let me see where you are. Okay. Okay, we have one that's below here, and most hands are up here or up here. Okay, good. So for you, you might want to focus. You might want to focus a little more if you want some more. Oh, and then there's both hands are up. Good. All the remote hands look like they're high in the sky. Of course, they can't do. They can't do. Wow, there's a lot of people. We have almost as many people remote as we have in the class today. Okay, so. There's no requirement that you know HTML really well in this class. If you know HTML really well, that gives you just a little leg up. But I'm going to show you today all the things you need to know about HTML. But if you want to bone up, you can certainly go back and look at some other resources. If you don't have your own resources, I'll give you some to kind of get familiar with the way HTML works. We're really going to take HTML after today as a given and go on from HTML. And today is the only day that we'll focus specifically on HTML and talk about how it works. Okay, so we see our tags. These are familiar. These are all different kinds of tags that show how things look and feel. Here's the tags that define the table. Here's the tags that define paragraphs. Here's the tag that defines that little horizontal line. Here's the tag that designs the heading. Notice I have not an I tag here, but what do we call that one? EM for emphasis. And then over here, instead of having a bold tag, we have a tag that's called strong. So this is actually a relatively lame attempt to make HTML structural. right? So every time I look at the strong tag, I think, what is that again? Is that bold or is that italics? Right? It's not strong. I don't think of it as strong. I think of it as bold, that they put another name on that it makes me hard to remember. That makes it hard for me to remember. They just call this B and I like they used to in HTML. I get it, because the rest of this is all about what it looks like, and then all of a sudden they put in these words that are semi-semantic, saying, oh, this is a word that wants to be emphasized, as if it ever gets emphasized in any other way besides making it italics. Right? If it truly was a semantic tag, then the way it was represented on the screen would really have nothing to do necessarily with the name of the tag. But in this case, it is an I tag. They just decided to call it EM. So even though HTML makes some motions towards being semantic, it really still is all about look and feel. And in fact, that's really a good thing. Because mere mortals, none of you are mere mortals now, you're all getting into the godlike status after this class. Mere mortals only think in terms of the way things look. They only think in terms of, how do I want this to appear to the person who's going to read it? For us, that's going to become a relatively minor event. How it appears, yeah, it's got to appear well for the one who reads it. But behind that, it has to be structured well so that I can manage it, so that I can get it all together, so I can put it together and know what I have, so I can organize it, so I can construct really good navigation for the end user. There's more going on than just how it looks. So even though HTML has made lots of motions towards becoming semantic or becoming structural or becoming non-formatting, it really still lives in the world of formatting. Okay.